Okay, now let's look into the Power Query editor. So we have previously imported this data set, which is actually from the online source. So I will give you an overview of the UI as well. As seen before, these are the tabs of the ribbons. Okay, and on the left hand side you will have the queries or the tables. On the right hand side there are applied steps and properties. This thing over here, it actually shows you the formula or function with which the below table is formed. You can either do this over here, or there is an advanced editor option. This will show you like a code. It's kind of a developer thing. So if you can see, we don't have the entire thing over here. It will have only a limited capability of editing or showing what's actually going on. So it's always better to use this advanced query editor when working with Power Query. Okay, so let me get back into Power Query editor and I'll explain to you what we have in these areas. So when we are importing data from this window, we have the same options over there. Okay, we can either use a new option, we can use recent sources, or we can manually enter data. There are parameters. Okay, parameters means it's like storing variables and all inside Power BI itself. So we can create variables and we can bring a certain value to them. We can fetch the values from certain queries or list, or we can see we are able to manually enter data over here. We can use it for some other purposes in the queries, which I will be explaining to you on the later stages. I'll be using the parameters on the refresh section, wherein we will be able to configure the data refresh. Refresh means it's nothing but just updating the data from the data sources. So we have two options over here: refresh preview and refresh all. Refresh preview means this will refresh only what we are currently viewing, that is the WHO 19 global data. Okay, for ease of purpose I will rename it to master. Okay, next we will talk about reference, duplicate, these options. Okay, so it's actually always better to maintain the data source. This is, we are taking it from a online web. So if we are directly implying transformation steps on this one, we might not have the actual data. Like if we wanted to have a look at how the data was on the initial stages, we won't have a data source for that. So what we can do is, like, if we are duplicating, we are actually creating a duplicate of the entire data source. Okay, in this case Power BI will consume memory as well as resource, because this query is actually pulling data from this source. It's again being same thing is done over here. So instead of that, what we need to do is, like, we can create reference. What this does is it uses this one as data source. If you notice on the function box over here, I'll close this anyway. See what you can see, it's actually fetching the data from the data source. Okay, but in case of our reference thing, this query we created as a reference from master. So if you see over here in the advanced editor, it says source is equal to master. That is, master 3 is referring to master as a data source. Okay, now I will delete this master 2 and let me rename it to raw, and I will keep this as master. Okay, now what we will do is we will do the initial transformations on this master table. Then we will try to create the other fact and dimension tables out of this one. So let me just go through the options that you have on ribbon. So this is choose column. Choose column means you can actually there are two options under it. You can actually go to a specific column. It will list in case there are more than 10 or 30 rows over here. You can just scroll down and click on it. See, it will take you to the column number. Another option, the choose columns. Suppose you want only 5 columns out of 25 columns. Okay, there are 20. Assume that there are 25 columns on your data set and you only need 5 of them. You just need to do that. You have only the remaining 5 columns. See, this is a transformation step. This is referred to as a step. So it has removed the 5 columns. It has selected the 5 columns which we have selected for now, and it has removed all the other columns. And Power BI has automatically named this step as remove other columns. If you want to go back and like add or remove any more columns, just go over here over the settings and unselect it or select others as per your wish. If you want to remove that step, just click this cross icon. So remove columns, it's the same thing like choose columns. We are going to select the columns which we will remove. See, but the only thing is that we need to highlight or select the column by clicking the column name. That's the difference over here. So I am selecting column 4. The second option is remove other columns. So I am keeping only column 4. I will show you how this step can be useful later on. Okay, then there is the sorting option that we will be getting from here as well. We have another option, split column. So what this is actually used for is if there is a if we want to split a current table by certain delimiters. By delimiter, it can be anything from a blank space, comma, a minus sign, a colon, anything. So we need to separate the data inside a column based on delimiters. Or there are other options as well. Certain number of characters, positions, uppercase, lowercase to uppercase, digit to non-digit, non-digit to digit. Okay. So few of these are like first 8. I need the first 8 characters, or I need it to be separated by 2 by 2. Let's have a look at it. See, if I just need the first 8 characters, or let's see, the 4. See, it has already it has already split in the first 4 characters as one column, and the remaining characters are actually considered as a second. By position, let's see. Again, it's actually creating a split on the positions that we specified. Let's see what happens if we give 4 6. It's actually creating a split at the 4th place and the 6th place, I think. Let's see the output. It says 1 minus 0 3 and 0. So the 4th place completes at 2020. Okay, so starting from the 4th is a minus 0, and it is again getting split at the 6th place. Okay, that is over 1. I'll be removing the step itself. Yeah, you can play around with the other steps, and you can just find out how the things are going on. Okay, now working with the data types. Oh, first thing that you should be focusing on this is to understand what are actually the column headers. In this case, if we note, see, we have the column headers already in the data. Okay, Power BI has not selected it as for us. At times, Power BI will automatically select it. I think we changed the settings in the options in the file where I showed you before. So it won't be automatically picking the headers and data types and all. You have to set them manually. So for that, you just need to click this one. Okay. So use first row as headers. Okay. In this case, we that's the step we need over here. Our first row is actually the headers. In case the first row is automatically detected as the first row, we will need to use this step. There. Now we have the headers correct. So I will try to change the data types of these things. So these are the data types that we have available on Power BI. We have the decimal, fixed. These are the numeric ones. These are related to the date, time, text, binary, true or false. So we have this is it's actually date. Okay, so if you look at this over here, this is actually the step which changed the data type of this column to type date. This is the code which did that. We can either directly type this in advanced editor, or we can do this manually as a no code solution. Now let's look at few other. See, this one also need to be changed to numbers. Oops, that's incorrect. It's actually a whole number. Okay, in case like when I did this now, I actually misplaced it as a decimal. Okay, so if you are doing the same step again, it might show you if you want to replace the current step or add a new one. At times you may require to change this to a decimal, then come to it as a numeric to create this zeros or something as per requirement. So here I am replacing the step because the whole numbers are the correct data type over here. Same goes for cumulative cases. Death, cumulative death. Okay, let's have a look at the how it looks over here. See, so the data source is raw, and this is the first step that we did. We just need to give a name over here. This can be anything. This is our own name to understand what it is happening over here. It's the same thing as over here, promoted headers. Okay, so you can change it to anything that you want for basic understandability. So this is the Power Query to do that transformation. Table.promote headers. The source, which is the source over here, and the second step is change data type. So for that, the table dot transform columns, that's actually the Power Query. So now we need to provide the source, which step is, or which source should it be done to. So we actually need it to be done to the previous step. So we are mentioning the source name over here, then followed by the rest of the parameters. Rest of the parameters should be the column name as well as their data type. It can be either just one of them, or we can give multiple columns with their data type in an array. Okay, so it will be separated by the data type, and the name of the column will be included in this brackets, and each of them will be separated by a comma. So that is how it should be done. Then we have few options wherein we can merge and append queries. Merge queries means that we can merge two tables together. Okay, let's see how it goes. So this is already it has selected master. Now I am going to select, let's see. Okay, so we are merging these two. So when we are combining these two, we actually need to select a column which can be used as a primary key for both of them, kind of a primary key for both of them. So only the matching ones will be resulted. Okay, in this case it says that these are the total number of rows which have a matching result. I think this can be explained correctly when it comes to creating a star schema, a scheme that is the data modeling. I will explain this better over there. Just keep in mind we have merge queries as well as append queries. When it comes to append queries, we can append more tables, two or more tables. See, we can, it's already said like master is selected, so we need to append raw to it. If we click over here, the other table will be added at the end. Okay, sorry, there are too many rows, we cannot just go over there. There are other options to bring in 3 or more tables. If there are many, you can keep on adding from here. Okay, so these are the available tables will be shown on the left side, and on the right side there will be the tables with which we have selected for merging. For example, I'll show you. This will be how this should be how it will be in the initial stage. So you are selecting raw from here and we'll be adding it over here. If there are more tables, such a scenario might occur wherein you will have multiple queries, like for example, so if you look over here, there are 3 files. This one has data from the previous not previous, it's 2015, 16 and 17, 3 years data these files have. So when importing into Power BI, we are just importing these CSV files separately, and if they appear as 3 different tables, we can just use append queries and bring them all together. So that's how append queries work. Please note that when using append queries, if you scroll over to the right, you can see that the data is appearing to as null. The reason is that when you are appending 2 tables, you need the same number of and same column headers. So before you merge these or append these queries, make sure you have the same names of columns. We merge this to raw. Raw does not have the same headers. Okay, so let's see what happens over here. I'm going to do this step again. Oh, this will end up in a error. Okay, we just need to remove that promote header. Now we will append raw, and there we go. See, we don't have those columns on the right now. Okay, so that's that.